Hello, folks. Welcome to Holding On with Holder. On this show, I interview interesting people to discuss interesting topics. My name is Steve Holder, and I am your host. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, then subscribe, and don't forget to share it with 1 million of your closest friends. Today, I have with me Mr. Podcast himself, Alvin Peoples, who has a show called The People's Choice. Welcome, Alvin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You just happen to have a T-shirt on that says that.
Yes, sir. I actually just got these made about last week. I haven't put them out there yet for my peeps out there. That's why I call my audience my peeps. But I wanted to debut them on your show. So these are the official People's Choice podcast shirts.
There you go, folks. You need to get you at least a dozen of them, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, for those who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about your background and who are you?
All right, sure. Yeah, my name is Alvin Peoples II. I was born in Waterbury, Connecticut. Lived there till I was about 12 and a half, almost 13, and moved to North Carolina. That's where I'm at right now. I've been here since about 13 years old. And I moved to start off in Lillington, Harnett County. So shout out to the Harnett County boys. Lived there, then ended up moving. Parents split up, moved to Fayetteville, and then went to Spring Lake. Now back in Fayetteville, where I'm at right now. Most people know Fayetteville probably from J. Cole. He's probably put on for the city of Fayetteville more than anybody. And yeah, I started this podcast back in September. It's always been something I want to do since 2014, 15. But honestly, I didn't have the confidence in myself. I was thinking, oh man, who wants to listen to me? Basically, like I was like, I don't think no one's really be interested. So I put on the back burner for a long time, but I knew I had a passion for it. I love talking to people, learn about people. I'm just a people's person. It's not just because it's my last name. It just happens to be my last name. So after some time went by and really 2020, just all the changes and craziness that's happened in 2020, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I need to do it now. No time is better. So September, I started, and it took off a lot better than I expected. My first episode, I got over 800 views on it, which, yeah, it was amazing. My first guest was the legendary Coach Russell Stone, who's a great man. Shout out to you, Coach, if you see this. He was also one of my football coaches back when I played for him at Douglasburg High School. And he's a legend. I mean, he sent over 300 kids to college. He's won state championships. I mean, he's the man. And I think that really helped boost it. And just the feedback I was getting from people saying, oh man, you're a natural. I could picture this on the big screen. You know, you keep this up. And that episode was about 2 hours and some change. I mean, it was
I
long.
watched part of it. I did.
Oh yeah. It was long, but it was good. It was so much. I just could not edit it out. I was like, this is so much life lessons. It was just so great. Yeah. And I still love Coach to this day for all that he's done for me. And I just went from there. People was hitting me up wanting to be on the show. I hit up people wanting to interview them, and here we go now since September, and been taking off.
Yeah. And your podcast is called The People's Choice. And
yes.
Since your last name is Peoples, that works. That's had a lot to do with me choosing Holding On with Holder. It just seems natural. My last name is Holder. It seems to work. You have a great show. And how many have you done now?
Ooh. I think I'm at, because I've actually been trying to expand the show more, because I want the People's Choice really to be more like a universe nowadays. When I started off, I was just going to do an interview show. But now at least lately, I think I stopped at episode 11 as far as interviews. Mm-hmm. And now I've been branching off because some people are just aren't comfortable giving their life, their story. So I decided to make a series called Sessions. So I got People's Choice podcast, and I got Sessions, which episode 1 was with my brother. Then I started a new series last week called Don't Hate My Take, which is mostly about sports, because I know there's a lot of sports heads, and like me, I love football, and UFC and wrestling and all types of stuff. So I thought, oh, this would be good to do that. So I can have people that they're probably not comfortable talking about themselves or their lives or anything. But now we got sessions. We can talk about topics, serious topics, anything. And then we have the sports section as well, where we just discuss or debate or agree on sports.
Yeah. Well, I have a bunch of YouTube videos from a couple of years back. This is my 10th episode interviewing people. So I'm just getting started in that. I'm enjoying it. I get to meet cool, interesting people like you. So it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you.
So who would you say is the coach you mentioned? Is that your favorite guest so far?
Oh man, there's so many great ones. I don't know if I have a favorite because I love all of my guests, all of my peeps. They're all just equally awesome. Just for giving me 5 minutes of their time or 2 hours of their time. It's all been amazing. Some of my favorite episodes, the one I did with Zeus was amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to check that one out. Antoine Zeus here, he's a great man. He's done a lot. If you haven't checked that one out, you gotta check that one out. That's a good one. The one with one of my best friends, Dominic Rowden, was good. With the one with his girlfriend, I mean, they're all good. I don't. LaHayla, her episode was great too. There's so many. I don't want to just pick one. And this one might be my favorite, actually. Who knows?
Hey, I hope so. Now, you mentioned LaHayla. I think she's one that I've seen. She a young black lady that went to Oregon College or?
Yes.
Yes. I seen that and I thought, hey, I'd like to interview her. She seems to be very interesting and very intelligent.
Oh yeah, she's amazing, and I'll actually reach out to her and hook you guys up. I know she would love to be on your show.
That would be great. I would love to have her on.
Yes,
She impressed me. Yeah, and I also watched part of a speech she did at I believe at her graduation. It was on YouTube, and I found that, and that was very interesting. So tell her she has a fan.
I definitely will, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna watch this too. And shout out to you, LaHayla, when you see this because you are amazing. Continue to shine over there in Oregon.
There you go. There you go. So what advice would you give to someone that is considering getting into podcasting?
Oh man, just do it. Do not be your worst critic like me. I should have been doing this since 2015, but I was my worst critic. You just got to do it. There's no perfect time. It's really just you have to go out there and do it and put yourself out there. Don't even worry about equipment. Don't worry about lighting. Don't worry about none of that. Just as long as you got a camera and passion and a dream, that's really the best advice I can give because I'm living out my dream right now. Right now, this is a hobby, but this is something I'm going to eventually turn into a career. Like the ideas. Definitely, because the ideas that God just continues to put on my brain as I sleep, as I'm at work, I'm like, this has to be my passion, my calling in life, because I'm just comfortable with it, and I love talking, engaging in conversations with people. So please, anybody that's out there that wants to do a podcast, just go out there, do it, and worry about the equipment and all the pretty stuff later. Right now, the most important is just get it out there.
Yeah, well, I'm spending $0. I record through Zoom and then I upload to YouTube and share on Twitter and Facebook and do promos on Instagram and TikTok. And, you know, I'm enjoying it. I'm not spending any money. Don't edit anything. It is what it is.
Yes, sir.
So it's fun. It's fun.
It really is.
So you're also a coach, right? Is that correct?
Yes. It's been about 2 years because I was actually going to make a return to coaching, but then COVID-19 happened. But yes, I am a coach as well.
COVID-19 put a kill to a lot of things.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately.
So is it high school football that you were coaching, or?
No, that was actually what I was working on. I was talking to a couple of coaches that I've went to high school with and that I've known, and they wanted to bring me along. But I've coached so far our recreation, the 11 and 12-year-olds and 12 and 13-year-olds. I was coaching them in the Spring Lake Spartans, along with Coach Love. Shout out to you as well for bringing me on to his team, because he actually coached my little brother, and we've always kind of just kept in touch, and he's just allowed me to come on to his coaching staff and met some amazing coaches and met some amazing players. Still to this day, I see some of them and they'll say, "Hey, Coach Al, Coach Al." It's amazing. I love coaching.
Yeah. So you're a big football fan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's your favorite team?
Oh, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. Okay.
Die-hard Pittsburgh Steeler fan.
I'm into college football myself. I'm a big Alabama fan.
Oh, you can't go wrong with that, man. Alabama.
Don't let me down too often.
Hey. Oh man, Alabama. That's just an amazing college. I mean, just the history from what Nick Saban's able to do, and then even before Nick Saban, I mean, they've been just tremendous.
Saban had big shoes to fill, and he's done just fine.
Yes, sir.
He's going to be a big shoes to fill for somebody someday.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be tough whoever gets that job.
Yeah. So, did you have a good childhood? How were you? What kind of childhood did you have, if you don't mind talking about that?
Yeah, well, my childhood was actually pretty rough, to be honest. It was I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut, and anybody that knows about Waterbury knows it's a pretty rough city. It's people think Connecticut, they're thinking, oh, it's pretty and it's rich and there's all these things, and it's not that really at all. It's the ghetto. Basically raised in LHP, which is Long Hill Projects. I mean, it was pretty rough. I grew up, didn't really have money at all, grew up poor. But I always had a dream, and I have loving parents. We've been through a lot, and we're really on great terms nowadays, especially me and my father, because that was kind of a rocky relationship for a while. But and my mother's always been great and supportive and stuff with me. But we just kept fighting. We've been through a lot in life, but we kept fighting, kept pushing, and wanting better and getting better, and we're doing all right.
Okay. And how would you say that childhood affects you now?
Oh, it affects me 100% every day. I just think about where I came from, and I mean just from the struggle of not knowing if you're gonna have a meal, or if lights are gonna be on, or if rent's gonna be paid, and just where I'm at now in life, where I'm making a really good living and able not just to help myself, but also help others, help my community, no matter if that's my church or people in my neighborhood, in different cities in North Carolina, any way I can. I love the community, because I remember those days, depending on churches and food banks and stuff, I've been there. So any way I can give back, that's what I try to do. I don't care if it's, I was going to say, sorry, I don't care if it's even a hug or even a conversation, anything. If I can give back to somebody, because I know what it's like.
Yeah, me too. And they say the people that have been through hell are really the ones that are the most generous, most willing to help, because we know what it's like. And hats off to you for that one. Definitely. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge?
Let's see, in life or as far as podcasting?
Whatever, all together.
Oh man, my biggest challenge, I think, was forgiveness for a lot of things that happened to me in my life, things that were really out of my control, and just really being a forgiving person. I didn't really have a relationship with Christ until I was probably about 19. And luckily, I met some amazing people that introduced me to Christ, and basically taught me about forgiveness. Because I want to say I held grudges, but I just didn't know how to heal. I didn't know how to forgive like that, and I used to take things very personal. So now, I mean, it's nothing. It's like water down my back. I've had people that have done me wrong, and I still love them, and try to even help them and to get where I know they can be. I always see the good in people, even when people don't see it, I could see it, and try to just help them get to that point in life.
Yeah.
But that was probably my biggest challenge was forgiveness, because I am a kind-hearted person, and a lot of people have taken advantage of me and take my kindness for weakness. But I plow through that, and everything always works out. So
Yeah.
that's
I have found that if we're willing to forgive often and we're always grateful, we can be happy. But
amen.
you got to forgive and you got to be grateful.
Yes, sir.
That's my experience. So, who are your heroes?
Oh man, there's so many, so many heroes. But I'll start off because I grew up a really big wrestling fan when I didn't have a lot of things, but I always had wrestling. So The Rock, Dwayne Johnson was always one of my
Oh, yeah.
heroes. Stone Cold, Jim Ross. Actually, that's one person that my little brother, we used to play wrestling all the time with our toys and action figures, and I used to commentate like Jim Ross, and he used to be like, man, you could really be a broadcaster one day. So that's kind of where I guess the seeds were planted one day, because I used to imitate him very well. Probably not as good as I can nowadays, but um, Jim Ross, definitely one of them. Let's see, John Cena. Then I move on to the football side. Ray Lewis, one of the best to ever do it, and learn from his mistakes and the way he now preaches and tutors and mentors kids and stuff. I mean, it's amazing. So Ray Lewis is one of them. Coach Stone, one of mine as well. His son, Coach Tripp. Trying to think of some more heroes
Well,
because
you
there's
have a list.
I do, because I get a little bit from everyone and just makes this amazing person that I am. To be honest,
I like to ask people that question, and most people have to think for a minute to come up with one. But you've got a lot, so you're a very blessed man.
yes, definitely. I learned a lot of life lessons from uh, them, just people from TV, and people from real life, like I said, from coaches, my parents too. You know, people like Keith and Ron from my church. Shout out to you guys if you guys watch this. Um, Even my boss, my current boss right now, Kevin. Like I learned from a lot of people. I look up to a lot of them, and literally, I'm a little bit of everybody into one.
Yeah, it's good to learn from other people,
Definitely.
especially from their mistakes. That way we don't have to make them all ourselves.
That's true. That is true.
So you're a big wrestling fan. Are you familiar with Alex Naviev?
Not so
He
much.
lives
No,
in Russia. I don't think he's ever been to the United States, but he's into the death matches. Do you ever watch any of those?
I have, and I gotta scratch my head on some of those death matches. I mean, I've seen some highlights of guys getting hit with those fluorescent lights and
Yeah, that's a
barbed wire. Oh, it's crazy.
Alex does that kind of thing, and I have an interview lined up with him pretty soon.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm definitely gonna watch that one.
yeah. Hopefully, it'll come up next week. He's supposed to let me know this weekend what day would be good. So hopefully that'll come up next week if nothing falls through. I'm looking forward to that one.
Definitely.
So, what kind of music do you listen to?
That's another one that's out there. I listen to all types of music because to me, I always listen to the message. The lyrics is always the most important. Some people, especially in my culture, we love just listening to the beat and bopping our head to the beat. Me, I've always been different. I love the lyrics and the message behind it. So I could listen to hip hop, I could listen to rock, I could listen to country. My playlist, anybody who rode in the car with Alvin could testify on this one. You never know what you're gonna get. It could be
Yeah,
gospel, it could be 90s, 80s rap, it could be 80s, 90s rock. I love more old school than new school, but because most people say I have an old soul, but my music is all over the place.
that sounds like me. That sounds like me. I have a playlist that I put on every night before I go to sleep. It has 800 and some songs on it of
Mm,
all different genres. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, I never know who I'm listening to. It's always good.
that's true. I thought I was the only one that does that. And actually, nowadays, I actually listen to some of my favorite podcasters or talk show hosts. And when I wake up, there's really no telling who I'm listening to or what kind of interview. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about this one. This was really good.
Yeah. I've tried to go into sleep listening to podcasts, but I find myself paying too much attention to what they're saying and it keeps me awake. With music, it just puts me to sleep. So, do you read a lot?
You know, it's crazy. I hated reading growing up. I am not gonna lie. If it didn't have a picture or a comic, I did not like it. I had to do it because school, and I was actually really pretty good at school. But other than that, I hated reading. I was more of a visual person. But as I got older, somewhere I would say around 19, this I know it's probably a long time, but somewhere about 19, that's when I was really starting to get into books. And one of the first books I remember reading that I really got into was called The Second Mountain. I don't know if you ever heard of that book.
No.
It is a great book. It was my first book I really read and actually liked. It was about basically when you work hard, you reach your goals in life, and then it's like, now what? So the second mountain is basically the mountain of like, okay, now you've reached your goal. So now what? What is next? So, and it's interesting. You get a lot of different people's perspectives and different journeys people have went. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what kind of books do you mostly read? What's your favorite genre?
Right now, truthfully, I love just autobiographies. I also love inspirational stuff too. I love. I'm right now. I'm reading DDP. Who's a former wrestler, Diamond Dallas Page. He's more famous for his
Oh
DDP
yeah.
yoga. Oh yeah, love his book, Positively Unstoppable. I'm not finished with that one yet, but I'm reading it. It's very good. I um I would ask anybody to check that book out. Also, I love. I just finished JR's book. Jim Ross was telling you about, called Under the Black Hat. Some amazing stories, especially if you're into wrestling. That's a good one to read. Another one I've read and finished was Chris Jericho's book, which is called "No" is a 4-letter word. How I failed at spelling but succeeded in life. That one's a good book too. Let's see what else is there. I know there's some more books I read, but I've been so busy. A lot of my focus has been more on podcasting, getting my show more out there and just better. But those are some books I'm almost done with, or I have finished some of them.
It's amazing. A lot of pro wrestlers are very intelligent and very well educated. A lot
Yeah,
of people think they're just big dummies that can't do anything, but they're just great actors and they
yeah,
portray those characters and they're fantastic athletes. So I,
definitely.
I just say it's like cartoons for grown-ups.
And like a lot of the wrestlers, especially the ones that I grew up off of, a lot of them are college grads. A lot of them have graduated from with different degrees, a bachelor's degree. Some have master's degrees. Then you got some who served in the military,
Yeah,
but they all have that stigma of muscle head, no brains, all bronze, and that's further from the truth than anything.
yeah,
Same with UFC fighters.
yeah.
Well, some of them.
So do you keep up with current affairs and politics?
I do, but I'm sorry I laugh. I try to be positive as much as I can because I know you're in the political world and stuff. I've seen that you ran for uh
U.S. Congress.
Congress. Yes, and that is amazing. Me, I am into politics, but I don't discuss it as much because you're gonna offend somebody or piss someone off in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
So I always like with my show. I always would say to myself, I always want this to be a show for people to escape because I mean it's everywhere. I mean, when I grew up, you would hear chatters about people who's your favorite, party or Democrat, Republic, or who's your president you're going for. But as social media got bigger, it's like you can't escape it. You get off one thing from Facebook, go to Instagram, it's right there. You get off Instagram, it's on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on YouTube. It is everywhere. And even at jobs or doctor's office, it's on TV.
yeah.
But I do follow with it though. But Yeah, it's crazy. It can be toxic, but you know, I I actually joke around with a friend of mine when I'll give my opinion on something, then I just always end it. But hey, what do I know?
Now, last year when I was campaigning, I always stayed in trouble. Every time I posted something on Facebook, I would just get blasted. You know,
Hmm.
and everybody expects you to have intelligent answers to all
Yeah.
the questions. And sometimes I just felt like saying, duh, I don't know.
That's so true. And I've actually, because I used to follow it really heavily around that 2016 time when Hillary and Trump was going against each other. And I would post something or share a funny meme, something I just thought funny, and I'm getting just hate comments and
Yeah,
messages and stuff. I'm like, man, a guy can't have an opinion no more. Or
yeah,
just I shared something just for laughs, and before you know it, you're offending somebody. Then before you know it, you're unfriended on Facebook or
yeah,
whatever. It's like people take things real personal. But
yeah,
when I actually with this election, I actually didn't even participate in it, and I have my reasons for it. But because the people I really wanted to run, unfortunately, Bernie Sanders didn't make it. As far I really wanted Bernie to win, and
me too.
yeah, I love Bernie. Like his message and the stuff that he was talking, I was like, yes, that's what we need
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
And I don't classify myself as a Democrat or Republican. I'm independent because I can hear and the good in both sides, but also see the bad, and I refuse to just because
yeah,
I know people that literally they know better and they know right from wrong, but yet because they grew up as a Democrat or grew up as a Republican, they're going to side with that
yeah,
instead of just going from what's in their heart. So, and I refuse to be that way. And I also wanted to run before we in that was a guy I was hoping would run was Jesse Ventura because he has some pretty good views, and he used to be the governor of Minnesota. And I really was hoping he would run, but he didn't end up running.
yeah. Now, have you seen any of his old wrestling matches? I know that's way back there.
Yeah, actually, I
Good.
Jesse was my dad from what I can remember back in the days. He used to do the whole bicep slapping to
Yeah,
wake up his biceps, and I remember him more from his commentary as far as when I was growing up. But I do remember watching old clips of Jesse the Body,
yeah,
and then him in Predator. I remember that, and just some of the other movies he did. He's a great man. He's
yeah.
very intelligent too.
I remember one time in an interview, the guy doing the interview said, Jesse, how come you never smile? He says, I'm a tough guy. Tough guys don't have to smile.
That sounds like something he would say.
Yeah. So what do you think about the present state of the world? Do you think there's any hope for us?
No, we're all doomed. No, I'm just playing. No, there's always hope because we have the Lord. Without the Lord, I mean, there is no hope. But because we have Him and He forgives us and loves us, there is hope. And I know a lot of people aren't religious and don't feel this don't have the same beliefs that I do. But I still love you. I still read the mail that you guys send. But I do believe there's hope in the society. We just really got to step back and really love each other. I feel too many people are not listening to the other. They're listening to basically respond instead of hearing them out. We just got to go back to loving each other, as brothers and sisters in Christ. And really, we just got to continue to see like how can we make things better and not focus on, what you did last or things that happened in the past. How can we get better as a country and as a nation?
Yeah. I'm always glad when somebody I interview brings up Christ. That makes me feel more comfortable because I interview a lot of people from different I've interviewed people from different backgrounds, and they're interesting people, and I really enjoy meeting them. But some of the things that they believe in, I don't.
Mm,
But that's okay. So, do
yeah.
you think the racism thing's going to get any better in America? Do you think it's changed any?
Well, I think it will. I have faith in this country that we will get out of this because I remember growing up. I mean, I've dealt with racism in my life, especially at a really early age in Connecticut, and in North Carolina has been too much better. But I've met a lot of great people too, and
Yeah.
I feel that we will eventually come together and get through this. But the race tension has been up a lot really since the Trump administration came in, and
Yeah.
I know it's gonna piss off a lot of Trump supporters out there. And I know I'm
That's
not.
okay. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I know. Right? I'm not trying to, but if you don't believe it, then you're just not really watching. You're not understanding, or you don't want to. Because I remember when Barack was president. I remember when Bush was president, and I was really young when when Clinton was a president. But there was never this much race tension before, at least for my lifetime. I'm only 25 right now. So it's sad, but I feel we can get through this.
Yeah, I think Trump just kind of opened the door and said it's okay to be a racist. It's okay to come out with all of your hate and bigotry. He kind of made it fashionable for that type of person to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's very
And
sad. It's very
and
sad.
a lot of people, they'll say, "Oh, but look at the good that Trump has done, and he brought this many jobs or lowered this price." And I made a statement or a status, I should say, many years ago, back in 2016, and I still stand by it. I'm like, I don't care how many jobs you could provide, how much money you could bring. If you hate me or hate another race and think you're superior to them, I can't stand by you.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Racism is very ugly, and I hate it. I hate it.
Me too.
That's one of the big things that I ran on in my campaign. I came out against the systemic racism and all the things like that are going on. And so many people want to deny it, act like it doesn't exist. And I say, well, do you know that the founders of this country started out by and for rich white men? I mean, and for many years, that's the only ones that could vote. So
Right.
how can you say a system that started that way is not systemically racist all the way through? I mean, that's the very foundation of it.
That's
You know?
true. That is so
And
true.
that's sad. Uh, so why do you think it's important for people to acknowledge and commemorate Black History Month?
I think it's important because, like, when I was in school, like, we always had Black History Month, and a lot of it was kind of the same old, same old. You hear, or you get the sheet of, oh yeah, this person invented the elevator or the broom or the lights. But as I got out of school, like high school and stuff, you find out more about other black amazing blacks or African Americans that have invented many things and done many things,
Yeah.
and that doesn't get the credit or don't get the shine, because mostly when you're in school they put the spotlight more on Martin Luther King, maybe Malcolm X, but that's really much about it. Oh, Harriet Tubman and maybe Jackie Robinson. But it's very important that there's way more out there that has done so much that some people don't even know. They don't even have a clue. And that's why I love Black History Month, and especially with me, being black. And I feel like I'm going to make history one day in life. Don't know from what, but I'm going to follow my passion and maybe I'll make some history. So I could be amongst the greats.
There you go. Well, you're off to a good start, brother. You're
Thank
already
you.
a big star. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you. God
so
willing.
where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, God willing, I see myself more mature than what I am now. I see myself being successful, and that could be measured in different ways. Some people think of success, they think of financial mostly, but I think more of just spiritually right, and also uh, growing, not just as a man, but also with my show, with Christ. I see myself doing a lot of great things in 5 years, because I've done a lot of great things in 25 years, and I'm still feel like I'm nowhere near where I want to be or where I'm gonna be. I feel like I'm really just getting started.
Well, that's good. That's good. When I was 25, I was a mess. very, very wrapped up in alcohol and drugs, and trust me, I was a mess at that time. So you're doing well. You're doing well.
Well, thank you, sir, and congratulations too on
Thank
beating that, because that hits home with me, because a lot of my family members, and not to name them, but that hits home well, because some people was able to get out of it, and some they had to take that demon to their grave.
Yeah,
So I commend and respect anybody that can get out of an addiction.
it's not easy. It's not easy. So what else would you like people to know about you before we wrap it up?
I just want them to know that I'm an amazing person, and I try to be as much as I can. I want them to know that hopefully this ain't the last they see of me. That they'll see me doing bigger and better things, especially with the People's Choice podcast and all my other series and crazy ideas out there in this world. um, I joked around with a good friend of mine, Stephanie, one time, and saying that, yeah, one day I want to see myself as big as Oprah. Maybe one day, who knows? God willing, maybe I'll have my own talk show and, get out there and stuff. But hopefully I could be a lot more.
Well, you have your own talk show now. I mean.
That's true. That's true. I guess more on a bigger platform, I should
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
More on a bigger platform. But let's see, what else should people know about me? Just know that I'm doing this with love, passion. Don't mean to ever offend or hurt anybody. I want to help out many, many businesses, local businesses especially. It's home with me. I remember a lot of local businesses, especially with 2020 and now 2021 with COVID. A lot of local businesses have been affected. So I would love to just outreach, or get my outreach, I should say, helping them out. So I'm always open for people if they want to, do some, collaboration. If I could just help you out in any way, put your business out there. It's really about it. I'm open to a lot of things and helping people.
Okay. And definitely, I want you to tell everybody all the platforms that your show is on where they can catch you.
Yes, you can catch the People's Choice podcast. You can catch me on, I have my own Facebook page for it. Which you just got to type in the People's Choice podcast. Also, YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Anchor. I'm on Apple Podcasts. I'm on Google Podcasts. I'm really all over the place, to be honest. And some people say you probably shouldn't have so many platforms, but I say, well, you never know who you're going to reach from one
There
to
you
another.
I have a lot of those platforms also. I usually talk more about the YouTube because I'm into the visual thing, but I'm on
Same.
Anchor and a lot of the other things. So people can hear all about you there too. So thank you very much, Alvin, for being my guest this evening. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. It's my honor, Steve. And I would love to have you on my show, because you're one of the
I'm
most
glad to.
interesting. Definitely, I would say you're one of the most
When.
interesting, man. I've looked you up, and would love to discuss many of the different things with you.
Okay.
So definitely look out for the People's Choice podcast shirts, of
All
course,
right.
and Steve also to be on my show.
Great. I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Well, I will let you go, and you have a wonderful evening, and thanks again. And folks, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe and share. Go over to the People's Choice podcast and share and tell everybody about what Alvin is doing. Thank you, brother, for being here.
Thank you, brother. You too. God bless.